Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to our Friday catch-up. It's nice to be here again. This week's flown by. I think we found that in lockdown last time, how quickly the weeks fly by when you're planning things. I'm just going to refresh my page so I can see who's there. If you can see me, do say hello. Let me know where you're watching from. Let me see if I can see. Oh, Amy's just blinding me with lights again. It's quite warm with all these lights. Here we go. So, yeah, it's afternoon. As I say, afternoon, everybody. Do say hello if you can. If you're watching, let me know what you've been up to this week. We've had quite a busy week. It's flown by. We've been, gosh, what have I been doing this week? We did a tutorial with the dressmaker's portfolio on Monday. That was really good fun, just to catch up with the ladies. I've got 4 ladies doing that this year, and we're sort of nearly halfway through. So it's good to keep in touch and do little tutorials every couple of weeks. And I've done a Zoom one-to-one with lovely Karen. And then yesterday we did our sew-along, which was really good fun. We made a skirt yesterday afternoon. Amy and I made skirts. Oh, hi Janet, how are you? Well, thank you very much. This Janet was just saying about my top. This is the Papercut Patterns Kochi top, or Kochi jacket. It used to be the Kochi kimono, but anyway, we'll gloss over that. Now is the Kochi top.
Hi Sally, hi Fiona.
Hi Fiona, how are you?
Sally loves the top.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, it's the Papercut Patterns Kochi jacket, and the fabric is a lightweight linen from Mr. Rosenberg. Amy bought me this actually.
Mm. Hi Suzanne.
Catherine, how are you?
Hi Suzanne.
Hi Jilly. Thank you very much. Thank you. I love this top. It's one of my favourites.
Hi Jilly.
Fiona enjoyed the sew along.
Sally's asking if any more sew-alongs.
Oh well, yeah. Well, I did think actually I have got some more of the skirt patterns. If anyone wants to do the skirt again, I could do another one of those next week. Hi Susan. Hi Margaret.
Hi Phil.
Hi Phil. How are you? Hi Joe.
Hi
Oh,
Joe.
how lovely. It's lovely to see everybody. Yeah, the sew along was such good fun yesterday. We had 10 ladies, and Amy and we all made a stretch pencil skirt. Hi Barbara, how are you? Hi Suzanne. Oh, so Suzanne's got poor Suzanne out in Guernsey, her pattern didn't arrive in time, but luckily.
No, I think she's saying the pattern for the jacket.
Oh, this pattern.
Mm.
Yes, it's a really great pattern, and lots of different options as well. You can make it a couple of different ways. I wear it as a top, so I tie it, but you can wear it as an open jacket as well.
Hi Barbara.
Oh, Margaret would like to do a knickers sew along. That's I'm going to make a note. Knickers sew along. Let me just make a note of that.
I'll do it.
I'll let Amy make a note of that.
I need a pen though.
There you go. You can wave as you come in. Yeah, any ideas that you'd like for sew alongs? Hi Carolyn, how are you? Nice to see you. Oh, so Suzanne's still waiting on the Scopos. Oh no.
Hi Sue. Sue O'Donoghue's here.
Oh, hi Sue, how are you? Nice to see you. Hi Claire.
Hi
Finishing
Claire.
the skirt. Oh, it was a little bit big for you, wasn't it, Claire, I think? Yeah.
Sally's not too keen on the skirt.
Oh, well, we'll think of something else then, Sally. What would you like me to do? Margaret's reckoning knickers.
Oh yeah, Jilly's up for knickers.
Up for knickers. Okay, we could do that, because I could send out some little kits or something. Or something. Yeah, we'll have to think about that. Maybe we'll do a knickers sew along. Knickers are really nice to make for yourself or as presents, especially the lacy ones. They're really good fun. A girl's sailor dress would be nice. Oh, that's interesting, Joanne. What a nice idea. We have a lot of ladies making for their grandchildren and things at the sewing room. So there's always some really lovely patterns. Have you got a nice pattern for a sailor's dress? Oh, Sue, I'm so glad you managed to join us. That's really great.
Oh, there's lots of people wanting knickers.
Everyone wants knickers. Sue's the lovely lady who runs the wardrobe department at Goodwood, the Goodwood Actors Guild, where I go and work every year. Oh, Barbara took her skirt in. Yeah, see, Barbara, because we made yours a little bit bigger because of the fabric not being as stretchy. But see what I mean? It's always good to make it bigger because you can always take it in. So, knickers. Big knickers then, Sally.
No bum floss.
I think we'd all quite like some big knickers, really. Okay, I'll have a look out for that. We'll see if we can do
There's a couple different types, aren't there?
There are, yeah, and it's always nice because some of them are Margaret loves the idea of a kit. Oh, Philippa finished her skirt. Well done.
Yay! Well
Loved
done,
your skirt.
Philippa.
Loved your skirt. Did you get the pattern all lined up in the end? Those lovely dragonflies. It's always trickier when you do a bit of pattern matching, isn't it? It's right for us doing nice, simple ones. Oh, Suzanne's saying that Merchant and Mills have got a sailor dress pattern. Is that a little girl's one or a grown-up one? I can't remember.
Do Merchant and Mills do kids patterns?
I don't know if they do actually. Do you know, I'm a bit out of touch with that. Sally wants enormous knickers. Maybe we should do a shapewear one as well. I quite fancy doing a shapewear.
Knickers would be good because we get to say gusset a lot.
Oh, Suzanne's. Yes, we do. We always love that. We can say gusset as many times as we like.
Oh, the Jennifer Long cardigan.
Yeah, that's the little one I've got over there. That's a really nice pattern actually. That'd be a good sew along. I don't know, my little green one's gone. Oh, and Suzanne's saying, is it little girl? Is a little girl's the Merchant and Mills one?
Oh.
Let's have a look at that. Amy's just digging out the Jennifer Lauren pattern. Janet's saying gusset, gusset, gusset. Some of you will remember that's the Jennifer Lauren. Can you see that?
Actually,
You might need to hold it. That's the Jennifer Lauren cardigan, and it's lovely. You can make it a little short cardigan,
really cute,
or a long cardigan. And I liked it. It's a classic cardigan, but the sleeve comes up across the shoulder. Joe does. A few years ago, I was teaching at the Dublin Knitting and Stitching Show, and I always teach the lace knickers class at the shows. And the local radio station wanted me to go in and demonstrate to the presenter how to make lace knickers on the air. So I had to go into the Dublin local radio, which is quite a big deal. I didn't realise it's quite a big radio station. And we went in, and I had to go in and show him how to make knickers on the radio, and he liked the gusset word as well. That was quite funny. It was a guy, by the way. Claire suggesting one of the easy tops from the Meg's Atelier skirt to go with her skirt.
like the shell top.
Yeah, the shell top would be nice. Yeah. Yeah, that short cardi Sue. It's really vintage. In fact, I think I
wore it to Revival.
Yeah,
I think.
one of it. I wore it to Revival. Catherine would like a top.
Pattern is called the Skipper.
The Skipper. Oh, that's the Merchant and Mills sailor dress.
Ah.
It's called the Skipper. Gosh, we're going to be... See, we thought lockdown, we'd have a nice quiet time. We've been
Never been busier.
Oh, the cowl neck top that I was wearing last week, that's a nice one. Yeah, that Vogue pattern.
Mm-hmm.
We could do that. That would be a nice sew along. Because these things are most stretchy fabric. You can do them on the overlocker with a 4-thread overlock, or on a sewing machine. Because it's stretchy fabric, it doesn't need to be neatened, so they can be quite quick to make. So yeah, either of those are quite good.
Well,
yeah,
sew alongs we can
rest
do.
for the wicked. I must have done something in past life. Yeah, so we're thinking. We had a nice setup yesterday, I think, didn't we?
I think it worked okay.
Yeah, we had quite a nice setup. We managed to sort out having 2 cameras on the Zoom, which was quite excited about that. So yeah, we're getting back into our tech, aren't we, Ames?
Slowly, yeah. We forgot how to do it.
Yeah, we did after. Oh, there's Dan. Hi, Dan.
Hi, Dan.
How are you? He's waiting for cocktails. Oh, Amy's got a really good one today, Dan. You have to stick around to the end. The cow top, was it 9006?
I think it's 9006.
Yeah, I think it's 9006, Sally. I haven't got it here, I don't think. Yeah, 9006. You wouldn't think, it's one of those ones with Vogue, sometimes you look at their patterns and they've got the drawings and you don't really, you skip past them. You don't necessarily think that they're a particularly exciting pattern, but it is.
But you made it for stretch, didn't you? The pattern's woven.
The pattern's for a woven cut on the bias, but I made it with a stretch fabric, which means you can cut it on the straight grain. So it's I think stretchy fabrics have a nice drape to them. So Suzanne's saying, who's resting at the moment? Not us, that's for sure.
I wish.
Yeah. Did you go out for dinner last night then, Suzanne? We were all very jealous on the sew along yesterday. Suzanne was saying out in Guernsey, they're completely open, all the restaurants and the theatres and cinemas. So we were all very jealous.
That's the one, Sally, yeah.
Yeah, 9006.
I made a few at Christmas. I made one in a stretchy sequin fabric. It was really pretty, yeah.
Yeah, and if any one of you knows Jane Fields, she's made a couple as well in different fabrics. She made one in that lovely pink and silver lacy fabric. So depending on the fabric, you get different drapes. So it's a really versatile.
Yeah, that'd be a good sew along that one.
Yeah, it would, wouldn't it? Right, we'll work on that one then. It might be more than 2 hours, that one. We did the skirt in about 2.5 hours yesterday, which was brilliant. Really good fun. So what else has everyone else been up to this week? Have you all had a chance to be sewing, making things? Doing a sew along is a good way of me and Amy to actually make something.
Yeah, I haven't made anything for months.
Yeah, Amy made a lovely skirt in a denim type stretch fabric, so I did top stitching on it. Oh, look, Suzanne went out for dinner last night.
So jealous, Suzanne.
So jealous.
I was just saying, I can't wait to go out for dinner.
Out for dinner, yeah, it'd be so nice. We managed to go out on your birthday, didn't we? Which was the end of October.
Yeah, just at the end.
Just managed to go out before lockdown. And yeah, that was the last time. Oh, Sue's doing some embroidery. That's good. Sue's really good at hand embroidery, actually. Really good. Seen some lovely. If anyone saw some of the pictures from last year's Goodwood, Sue did some lovely embroidery on that. I saw your toaster sweater, Sally, on Midhurst Sewers. That was lovely. Did it in 90 minutes. And that was the one where you played about with the pattern as well, wasn't it? It wasn't just the straight toaster. Sally made the top from one design and the bottom from the other. There we go, maybe a toaster or a big easy top actually. And Margaret's finished her jeans. Yay, well done.
Oh, you've had a busy week, Margaret.
Very busy. Now she's finished completed hemming her coat. That's brilliant. Yeah, we were talking the other day because Margaret was putting off hemming her coat because she wants to take it to the dry cleaners to get it pressed, and she thought the dry cleaners wouldn't be open, but there's no excuse because the dry cleaners are open.
Sally's having a nightmare. Mila dress.
Oh, the Mila dress. Oh no. Well, yesterday Sally and I had a chat about the Mila dress because she was making the bottom in Linton and the pattern was an uneven weave, so it didn't match. We'll have to have a chat about that, Sally. I thought it was going really well after we had a chat.
Suzanne's ordered lots of fabrics.
Oh,
that's
we'll
good.
Have to see a picture of those.
Janet's knitting a pink cardigan in 4-ply cotton whilst
bit
watching.
Of knitting.
I really was saying last night, wasn't it? I want to do some knitting now. We've had the fire lit, and I just want to.
Oh yeah, we have a nice open fire at home. Oh, Wendy's here. Hi, Wendy.
Hi, Wendy. Icing a birthday cake.
Sarah's birthday cake.
Love all the activities that happen while we're live.
Yes, it's lovely.
Very industrious.
Just set us up in a corner and listen while you're doing something else. That's really nice. How lovely. Did I miss anybody before dinner? I know Sally's making the Mila dress. Yeah, we'll have a chat about the Mila dress, Sally. Is it mixing the velvet with the Linton that's causing the problem? Or is it that pointy bit at the front? It's the one with the point.
Oh yeah, I know the one.
Here.
Love that dress.
Yeah. So Sally was doing Linton tweed at the bottom, which is all done with underlined, and then velvet at the top.
Nice.
That should be lovely. It can be, yes. The point at the top here, stay stitched it and then snipped up to it. That might help. You've probably done that already, Sally. You know what you're doing. Cozy fire sounds good.
Oh, they had frost, Janet's saying.
Oh, really? We haven't had frost. It's just raining horrible today.
Barbara got a nice John Caldor stretchy fabric today.
Oh, so you're going to make another skirt with that then, Barbara?
Wendy thinks the lighting and production's very good.
Well, it's quite a setup in here.
Thanks, Wendy.
Yes, it's much easier to set it up properly here than rather in our home where we had it hanging off the chandeliers and things.
We've got extra lights today because last week I think was a bit dark.
Yes. Of course, Suzanne's making the assembly line cuff dress, which she showed the pictures of yesterday, and 2 more children's dresses. Oh, lovely.
Good. Look forward to seeing those photos.
Sandrine, how are you? That's nice to see you.
Hi, Sandrine.
Thank you for joining us. How lovely.
Bonjour to you too.
Yes, bonjour. Oh, that's really nice to see you. Sandrine did manage to get here for a class just before we went into lockdown, actually, so that was nice. Yeah, our production is getting better, I feel. I was quite pleased. I did a Zoom 1-to-1 with Karen this morning, and I had my 2 cameras set up.
So tech.
Yes. Sally's also crocheting the Havana blanket. Oh no, I haven't. Right, do you need any wool?
Oh, thank you, Suzanne. Well, I mean, if you saw our shed, you wouldn't ask that question, Suzanne. Mum used to have a wool shop, and we still have a lot of stock. So it's a bit like a kid in a candy shop in that.
It is,
in the outdoor.
Gradually, I mean, I closed the shop. What was it? 5 years ago, and it's on my eBay, most of our wool now.
Yeah.
But, in fact, I just gave a lot of the super chunky wool to the lovely Sue Cotton. I don't know if she's with us today, but Sue's doing some knitting hats for homeless people. Well, she's doing it on a loom actually, knitting hats for homeless people. So I've just given all my super chunky yarn to Sue Cotton, and she's making lots of hats. Oh, Wendy had a frost.
And now it's double what?
I have no idea.
Don't know what.
No idea.
I think something rude. Hasn't taken her slippers off yet though. Barbara wants to make another skirt and the deer and doe jumpsuit.
Oh, that sounds good. I haven't seen that pattern. I have to look that one up.
Oh, Suzanne got quite a lot of wool as well. You would understand. Good insulation, Suzanne.
Yes. I always remember Mr. Rosenberg saying at the shows, he said, well, I don't want to just sew you this fabric to be insulation in your loft. Oh, hello,
Hi, Sue.
How are you? I was just talking about you. Just saying, we were just talking about knitting. I was saying that I've just given a lot of my super chunky wool to you to do the looming hats for the homeless people. And how's that all going? You've got lots of volunteers as well, I think, haven't you? I haven't got time to do the looming, but I can give you all my super chunky yarn. So, I think Wendy needs to come back to class. I don't know. We don't do swearing in the sewing room. It's all very polite. So what else have you been up to this week? I've been catching up with The Crown. Did anyone watch The Crown this week? Watch the lovely costumes in
No
that.
spoilers, no spoilers.
No, Amy's watched. Well, I've only watched the first.
I'm behind.
I've only watched the first 3, so yeah.
No, you're ahead of me.
Am I 3 or 4? Yeah. I need to. That'll be my weekend actually. I'll do some sewing and catch up with The Crown.
Great costumes there.
Jill has just finished a reversible twig and tail dress for 18-month-old.
Oh, it's from New Zealand.
Oh, Sue's got 40 volunteers. Wow, that's amazing. And they've got to make 80 hats. Oh, that's good. You've got enough wool now, Sue. I've got some more of that super chunky lisle, if you'd like some more of that. It's got a little bit of glitter in it. So, oh, that's brilliant. That's so good, isn't it? That's so good.
Crown and Queen's Gambit, yeah.
Yes.
I've got one more episode of Queen's Gambit. That's on my list this weekend.
Yeah. Oh, Sue, aren't the costumes amazing in the Queen's Gambit?
So good.
Absolutely fantastic.
Watch The Crown, and I'm up to
Episode
episode
9.
Sally's up to episode 9.
Wow.
Sue's finished it. I need to get on with it. I'm only on episode 4.
We'll have to catch up this weekend, otherwise there'll be too many spoilers, won't there?
Yeah. Can't go on social
Janet's
media.
Just watch the first episode of Queen's.
Oh, and the first episode of Queen's Gambit as well. Oh, you're going to love them both, Janet.
At least we can binge watch those. It's not like The Undoing where we have to wait every week.
No. Can't see Sue Cotton.
Oh, she's here. She's here. Real costumes. Every time the Queen comes in. Oh.
I check her tweed for pattern matching.
I saw a post from, I think it was either McCulloch and Wallace or Joel and Sons, that some of their fabric is in The Crown. And the Queen was seen wearing a tweed.
Oh, the last episode of Queen's Gambit's the best. Oh,
no,
thanks, Sue.
Okay, right, we'll be on it.
I might watch it tonight. Sue would like more lisle, so we're going to start doing scarves.
We'll make a plan to meet up in the car park and swap bags of wool. That'd be great. So what else have I got to tell you? Well, I've got some more sewing news this week. So we often talk about printing of PDF patterns and how sad it is that Patternzy is going to be closing if it hasn't already. And I found a new company this week called Fabuloso, S-E-W, and they print A0 patterns for £2 on thin tissue paper. So if you're looking for a new company to replace Patternzy printing your patterns, I haven't tried them yet, but I've heard lots of good things about them. They only opened up this summer. They're a small company, and basically they started up because of the lockdown and having to work from home. So it looks like a really good setup, and they're printing on the tissue paper, which is what we all want when we do our PDF patterns. So if you want to try this new company, it's called Fabuloso, S-E-W. And if you're, again, looking for some PDF patterns, Fibre Mood, you may have seen Amy's post on the Midhurst Sewers. Fibre Mood patterns have a special offer, 5 PDF patterns for €20. And
bargain.
It's a real bargain. And also, Fibre Mood have some really great patterns. They've just brought out a magazine.
Sally's saying Patternzy is now not closing.
Oh, is it not? Did they decide to stay?
And Janet's saying, can we put that on a post?
Yes. Oh, so Sally's got the coronavirus, means they can't retire anymore. Oh, well, that's good that they're still going, but they do get very busy. So Fabuloso, well, yeah, I'll put that in.
It's good to have a backup, isn't it? Because patterns you often have to close down.
Exactly, yeah. I'll put that. I'll put a link up on the Claire's Threads page after the live for that. But Fibre Mood have also brought out a magazine which includes 14 patterns for £12. I think you can get the magazine from Fold Line. So if you like their patterns, have a little look at those. Amy's bought quite a few recently, haven't you?
Yeah, really patterns. Cool, really interesting designs.
Yeah, have a look at those. So more exciting news. I have been chatting with Maggie from the Textile Garden. We always talk about the Textile Garden when people ask where do you get your buttons from, we always end up saying Textile Garden. So they do the most amazing buttons, and we are going to be selling Textile Garden buttons here in the sewing room. So I've had some samples. Look at these. Okay, you can't see them from here, but these lovely shell buttons. I'll pass them to Amy. You can see beautiful colours. We're going to have lots of different ones. It's very exciting.
All these lovely little. Oh, where's the camera? Little shells. Oh, let me see. So, they're all nice little colours.
Anyway, we're just sorting out. Honestly, it's terrible because we want to have all of them. So we'll try and sort that out in the next couple of days. So hopefully by the time you come back to the sewing room, we'll have Textile Garden buttons here, which is so exciting. These are the Caroso ones, which are really lovely as well. So we're very excited about that.
Margaret's saying another new pattern printer is the Savvy Sewist. Not tried but seen good reviews. Sue Cotton says woohoo. Sally's asking if the fibre mood patterns are a good sew. Not sure yet. I haven't made it up yet, but I have cut it out. And the pattern seems to have all the stuff you want on a pattern.
What were the instructions like? How many bought the instructions?
The instructions were good. The only thing is I bought mine through the Fold Line because then I could have them printed straight away. And they used Fibre Mood. If you buy the magazine, there are no seam allowances on the pattern. So when I got the pattern, there was a little note from Fold Line saying we've now added the seam allowance, but it wasn't very clear, so I had to cut it out twice. Textile Garden buttons, so exciting!
Except for stock taking. Oh well, yeah. That's your job, Ames.
Janet got so excited she cabled the wrong way in her knitting.
Yeah, we're very excited. We wanted to have buttons here, but you can't just have any buttons, can you? No. There's no point for us having any old buttons here, and then we're constantly saying about going to Textile Garden. So
we've picked out around 40 or 50 designs, haven't we? We were sat on the sofa one evening, and there are hundreds to choose from.
So beautiful. So
it was very difficult.
We'll try and get a good basic range. Then we'll have a few special ones, and then as time goes by, if people like them and they go well, we'll add some more. So
very exciting.
Yeah. There'll be zips next. So that's very exciting. I am very excited about that because buttons can really make or break a garment, can't they? They are really special, and these are such good quality. Maggie has really good taste in buttons. So to go with our lovely handmade garments, we've now got the beautiful labels from Cardigan the Machine, and we'll have lovely buttons from Textile Garden. So the other thing that arrived this week are the new weights from Pattern Weight Company. So we've got lots of lovely new pattern weights, and they're all sewing themed. So they've got things like sewing machines on them, and they're branded. How lovely is this? They've got branded with my new logo on them. That was very exciting. That one's got scissors and zips on them. They're all on the website, so they make a really nice gift for yourself or for somebody else as well. So lots of choice for the pattern weights. I don't use pattern weights as an alternative to pins. I use them along with pins. I quite like to use weights to hold the fabric on the table, but I use pins to hold the pattern to the fabric. So
it's especially good if you've got a really big pattern piece, isn't it? Yeah. And you don't want to pin through the centre of your fabric.
Exactly, so holding down the grain line and things like that. Yeah, so they're very good for that. But I still like to use pins for sewing for pinning the pattern to the fabric to cut around the edge. Because I always think that if you've got the pattern held down nice and close, you can cut much neater along the edge of it.
I found them very handy in the summer when you're sewing with the door open.
Yes.
And there's a slight breeze.
Or the window open.
You can hold down all your little bits that might fly away.
Yes, exactly. Yes, they're very good for that, as well as baking tins and things like that.
Yeah.
Anything you can have to hand, which is really good. So, a couple of things that people asked me to talk about this week. Well, Julie was asking me to talk about toiles this week and making a toile because she wants to know, is it something that we do as a matter of course with every garment? Is it something you would do every time? What do you always think? What do you think about toiles? I think you'll know if you come here that I always recommend making a toile before you make a garment, particularly if it's something that you're going to be making out of a beautiful fabric, you're going to be spending a lot of time on, something with a lot of detail on it. It's not just about the fit. Making a toile is not just about the fit, it's also about practicing the construction details of a garment and making sure you're happy with it, making sure you understand the pattern.
That's good.
Yes.
Susan always wondered how to use the weights.
Yeah, exactly.
Now she knows.
There you go, that's good then. They're very pretty as well. So making a toile is not just about getting the fit. Obviously, the fit is I always think is the most important thing, because once you're happy with the fit of your toile, you haven't got to worry about it. You can concentrate on the construction and just getting that right and getting your garment to look as beautiful on the inside as it does on the outside. So making a toile, I always recommend. Sometimes with a simpler garment, I mean, I didn't make a toile for this sort of thing because it's very loose, and I would have made it, if there was anything I wasn't happy about, it wouldn't have been major. So you can always have what a lot of people call a wearable toile, something that they think, well, I think it's going to be, near enough, but I'm just going to make it out of a cheaper fabric that I could wear, but not my really good fabric. So think about when you're going to make a new garment, making a toile. I would definitely recommend it. I was talking to Karen this morning when she was making a couple of coats, and she was saying about making a toile, should she make the full length of it? And I said, as long as you make it just below the hip, that's going to give you most of the detail with the pocket and everything to practice. So you shouldn't need to make the whole full length of it, but just down to the hip and checking the sleeve length and all that sort of thing.
So Sally's saying she makes a toile most of the time, but not always, especially if it's stretch.
Mm-hmm.
Sue's asking, would you use different fabric for a toile, say a softer fabric for a draped pattern?
Yes, definitely. So when you're making a toile, you need to think about the fabric that you're going to be making your finished garment from. So if it's something like a tailored jacket or a pair of trousers or a fitted skirt, then calico is great. But if it's something a bit more drapey, you want to use the fabric for your toile needs to be similar to the fabric you're making your finished garment from. So like Sally was saying, if it's something stretchy and you really want to make a toile, you need to make it from a stretch fabric. But with a stretch garment, you don't always need to make a toile because you've got a lot of stretch fabric's very forgiving, so you could make a wearable toile.
Cotton lawn's quite good for a drape, isn't it?
Yeah, cotton lawn or lightweight polycotton. Actually, sheeting is very good as well. You can obviously pick up sheets, and that's often got a bit more drape to it as well. So if you're making a fabric that a garment that has drape to it, use something a bit lighter weight.
Suzanne's asking, if you are making a wool coat, what would you use for the toile?
Calico for that, Suzanne. I would use calico for a wool coat. Margaret's saying, yes, you could, as a compromise, you could use, don't you just love autocorrect?
Toilets. We've got lots of toilets that are being made this afternoon.
Swedish tracing paper or pattern trace, that is a tissue tracing paper that you can actually pin and you can sew through as well. So you can pin it together and do a sort of tissue fit with the Swedish tracing paper as a toile. It's not quite as accurate as doing it with fabric, but it gives you a pretty good idea of the fit of a garment. So if you did sew together your it always does toiles to toilets, Margaret.
I think Sally's came out as toilets.
Yeah. So if you want to just do a first try by tracing your pattern and tacking it together with the Swedish tracing paper, that works really well. And if you still think you're not quite happy with the fit, make it out of fabric so that you really can see exactly what it's going to do.
Autocorrect is clearly not a service.
I know. I thought by now that autocorrect on my phone would have at least caught up with the fact that I'm always saying sewing and not seeing. But it's always correcting me. I always have to correct and double check.
Janet, I bought some very cheap jersey to make a wearable toile for a dress that has twists above and below the waist. mainly so I can understand the
Really good
construction.
idea, Janet. Yeah, that's a really good idea, especially for some of the more complicated garments like that. And also you want to make sure that things like the waistline's in the right place. So a very simple t-shirt dress, you'd probably be fine to not make a toile for it, but anything that's got seams or some sort of detail, especially that sort of twist detail, you want to make sure it's falling in the right place, and you want to make sure you're happy with the construction, especially if you're going to go on and make it with something, you know, like a more expensive jersey or a silk jersey or something like that. So really good idea.
Sewist goes to change to sexist. Oh dear.
Oops. Yeah, good job you spotted it. Yeah, it's tough when you're trying to type really quickly in the comments. You don't always spot it, do
I
you?
hate that when I send something and then I'm like, oh. Especially if it's like a business email or something and autocorrect got you.
I think Kim just sent me a text. She said, "Can I order some Habby?" And she said, "Oh, just corrected it from hubby or baby." Because we really don't want to be ordering a hubby.
Primary do cheap jersey sheets, which are good for stretch lavatories.
I think that's Primark.
Primark, you mean?
I think Margaret's got the best stretch.
Love it, Margaret.
That's good to know that Primark has some stretch cheap jersey sheets. I wouldn't want a cheap jersey sheet. Swedish.
But Swedish
tracing paper.
My daughter is Hester, always
Comes
comes
at
at heater. Suzanne's children are used to her typos.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I am constantly having to double check before I send a text, before I send anything. So what else today? Well, today's Black Friday. Is it Black Friday this week? Or
It is today.
Is it today Black Friday? So Black Friday, it's really an American thing, isn't it? But there are a few companies over here that have some good Black Friday deals. The Friday Pattern Company. I've got 25% off all their patterns. Oh, yeah, that's very true. That'd be very expensive loo paper. I wouldn't want to use my Swedish tracy paper as loo paper, Wendy.
I mean, you haven't been hoarding, Wendy?
Yeah, so you've not been stockpiling.
Didn't join the club.
So yeah, Friday Pattern Company, 25% off all their patterns. They do PDF and printed paper patterns. Their code is FALL25, that's capital FALL 25, and that's on till the 30th of November. Their patterns are good. I particularly like their Cumbria duster.
Oh, I so want to make that.
Yeah, I've got that pattern already.
Yeah.
But yeah, they have got a few good patterns, Friday Pattern Company.
Has anybody made that yet? The Friday Pattern Company Cumbria?
Somebody made it on one of the retreats, I think.
Oh, Black Friday's next week in the US.
Oh, okay. So maybe some more deals next week then.
So it's here today.
Some of them are starting this week, aren't they?
It's Cyber Monday on Monday, which is the other thing.
So we've got Hobbycraft have got some Black Friday deals, and they've got deals on their circuit cutters, so if you like doing patchwork and quilting, and they've got some art materials. And there's a company called My Sewing Box who've got a Pink Friday offer, and they're offering 20% off their fabrics orders over £75 and free postage as well. So if anyone finds any more of these sort of deals that are relevant for us for sewing and things, do post them on either on Claire's Threads or Midhurst Sewers. It's always good to get a deal. It's all like a bargain.
Love a bargain.
Yeah, definitely. Has anyone else seen any good bargains out there? I particularly like the Friday Pattern Company one because I do like their patterns. I think the Vogue Patterns one's finished now, hasn't it?
That finished last Sunday, yeah.
So that's finished.
I'm going to be buying some more Fibre Moods later, I think.
Yeah.
Before that ends.
We haven't got enough patterns already.
Never have too many. It's a whole different hobby, isn't it?
It is.
Pattern collection and fabric stashing.
Definitely.
Two very separate things.
So yeah, let us know if you see any good deals out there when you're looking about.
I'm hoping Linton pops up with a little Black Friday deal.
No, I'm going to try and finish my couture skirt this weekend. Actually, that'll be one of my little jobs by the fire. So I was going to do a little demonstration today, and somebody mentioned last week about doing the vent in a skirt, but I really had such a busy week I didn't have time to prep that, so I'll either do that next week or I'll do it as a YouTube video, I think, because it's a bit more of a long demonstration to do that really properly. I'd like to show how to do the hems and everything right, so I will do that as a demonstration. I think it was Fiona who asked about that, wasn't it? Then I will do that either as another, we do a live, or I'll do it as a YouTube video, finishing the vent in a skirt. So today I was going to do a little recap on buttonholes. Seeing as we're going to be getting Textile Garden buttons, I thought we ought to have nice buttonholes to go with them. So we're going to do, move my cup out the way, and Amy can do a little fancy manoeuvre.
Oh God, I've got more tech on this table now.
No, everyone can see all the text now.
Yeah, see your notes.
Oh.
Whoop. There we go.
Okay.
Right, I just need to come around here. Okay.
Can you see everything now? Okay.
There we go.
So we're going to talk about buttonholes. And whenever you do a buttonhole, you always need to do a test buttonhole on a piece of fabric. Every time. Oh, Susan Castle, you're doing the lovely hand stitched buttonholes on your couture jacket, aren't you, Susan? I hope it's going well. You can keep going back to your sleeve in between practicing buttonholes. That's what I suggest. So when you're setting up your fabric to do your sample, you can't just do it on a random piece of fabric. You need to get the fabric that you're making your garment from, and you need to interface it in the way that your garment's going to be interfaced. So if you're doing underlining, something with cotton lawn or fusible interfacings, make sure that your sample you're going to be doing is interfaced exactly the same way as your garment's going to be. You then need to mark up your where you're going to do your buttonhole. So I'm just using something like a fine chalk marker or a friction pen, depending on where you're going to, what colour your fabric is really, because obviously the friction pens are great, but they don't show on all fabrics. These fine chalk markers are lovely. If you've got things like Linton tweeds or tweed fabric, you'll probably need to use a tailor's tack for this. So mark up your fabric. To reach around the back here to get this. The machines that I'm going to demonstrate on today is the ones that we have here in the sewing room that do a one-step buttonhole, which are great. And they come with this machine foot here, which just slides out at the back here. And I'm just going to grab one of my lovely new Textile Garden buttons. Thank you very much. Nice silver one. These are just the samples that Maggie sent me, but we got very excited by that. Pull the back of the foot out and put the button in and close it tightly around that. And this is going to show the buttonhole, show the machine when to change direction. So the foot goes on the machine with the button towards the back. Here's a little bar here. Which,
bring it down.
That way there. So the button goes at the back, you've got a little bar here, and that's the bit that clips onto the machine. So I'm going to put that onto the machine now. Just going to lower that down. Make sure that's clipped on. There we go. Okay, so it always feels a bit wobbly when you first put it on, but that's fine. And then you need to pull down the buttonhole lever. On this machine, there's a little black lever on the left-hand side there, which pulls down and sits in between the two little guides here. Okay, so that's all set up, ready to go. The next thing to do is to select the buttonhole that you want to do. I'm going to start off with the basic standard buttonhole. We've got the flat ends there, so I just need to push the button on the front there, and it selects number 18. And I'm going to leave it all with the default stitch width and stitch length to start off with. These can be altered depending on your fabric. So I'm then just going to place the fabric underneath and make sure that my needle is going to go down in the mark that I've made with a lovely fine chalk marker, and then lower the foot. Now I'm actually going to unplug my foot pedal for this bit and use the start-stop button. And the machine's going to stitch backwards and then zigzag forwards. And that's what I quite like about these machines, is that it does the zigzag in one direction. And it's then going to stitch backwards again and zigzag forwards. And then when it gets to the end, it will stop. There we go, and that's done a really nice buttonhole. So as I mentioned, these stitch width and stitch length, it looks fine on this particular fabric, but if you had a thicker fabric, you might want to alter those. So I think we were doing it with Sally's coat the other week, on her lovely purple coat. We were doing a standard buttonhole, but because it was a wool wool, we wanted to make this a bit bigger. I think we might have gone up to 6 for the stitch width and then 0.5 for the, I don't need to do them quite so far apart, do I? So again, I'm going to make sure that the needle's going to go down exactly in my mark. Make sure that the fabric is laying straight here. You want to make sure that it's going to be stitching straight backwards. Press the start stop button and away we go again. So this will do the same size buttonhole, but the stitches will be slightly wider apart and slightly bigger. There we go. So you can see the stitches are a little bit wider apart there. So if you had a thicker fabric, that would be a lot better for that particular fabric. There are a couple of other things you can do just with this basic buttonhole. You could do a corded buttonhole. So if you had a fabric you want to give the buttonhole a bit more definition, you can use a gimp cord. And this is what Susan's playing with at the moment, because gimp cord is also what you use when you're doing a hand-stitched buttonhole as well. So I'm just going to take the foot off the machine for a second just to show you how you use this cord. I don't think I've demonstrated this before on live. There we go. Oh, good, Wendy, I've taught you something. Hooray! So, gimp cord, you could use embroidery thread or just any fine cord. And on the back of the buttonhole foot here, I don't know if you can see, yeah. It's got two little grooves in the bottom here, and there's 2 grooves at the front. There's also a little peg sticking out the back. So you take your cord. I've used things like fine crochet cotton for this before as well, which works quite well. It goes over the peg at the back and then comes down and clips into those 2 little things at the front. Now you still have to hold it, but that does sort of hold it in place like that, so that when I turn it over you can see the 2 cords laying in the gap there. Okay, so I'm going to put that back on the machine and try not to nudge the cords out the way.
Wendy says you always have a trick up your sleeve. You have very big sleeves.
There we go. So I'm going to put this underneath again. Just move those out of the way. And again, make sure the needle's going to go down in my mark. Oops.
Don't know what you touched there.
I might just reset the buttonhole. I'm not sure why I touched there. Okay. Needle down. I'm just going to reset that because I'm not sure what I touched. And press the start stop button. Just make sure that's nice and straight.
Sue O'Donoghue has serious sewing machine envy.
That's why I always bring this one in with me when I come into revival, Sue. There we go. So it's going to stitch up next to the cord, and when it comes forward it will do the zigzag over the cord. There we go. Stitch straight back.
Catherine's asking, would this be good for a blazer?
Yes, it'd be lovely on a blazer. It's really good for jackets actually, because it gives the buttonhole a good definition and it also strengthens it as well.
Janet asked, do you have to adjust the stitch width length to work with the cord?
No, not particularly. You always do a sample. Do the sample first, but generally I always start with the default settings for the buttonhole and then adjust it afterwards.
Jo said it looks tricky.
It's not too bad. Look at that. So that's given it a nice little ridge there. So there's 2 things you can do now. You can just cut these off really close to the bar tacks at the ends there, or you can put them onto a big needle and pull them through. If you've got like a loose weave fabric, you can push them through. So on this one, I'm just going to cut these off because I don't want them to get in the way for my next samples.
Nice and defined, isn't it?
Yeah, it does, and I've left that with the I've left that with the bigger stitch, so I've left it with the same settings I did this one there, so you could see it a little bit, but if you do the satin stitch a bit closer together, it's even nicer.
Suzanne says she's never seen this done before.
Oh, good. I know, it's nice to have a little recap.
Grooves on your buttonhole feet, then now you know what they're for.
Yeah, exactly. Now you know. Just going to cut that thread there. So that's a corded buttonhole, which is very nice for jackets and for coats. Lots of things like that you could do cord. You could, I did see 8 years ago, I saw a post where someone had used an embroidery thread to do the corded buttonhole, and they'd left the ends sticking out and made tassels.
Aww.
So if you like something a bit more arty, a bit more different, you could use embroidery thread to give a bit of definition to your buttonhole and then sort of tassel the ends. So that's the basic buttonhole shape there. Now most machines will do a few different buttonholes. You can see on this card here. Yeah. So you've got the one that we just did, number 18, which has the straight edges. I normally find that although machines will have different numbers, the symbols are all very similar. So you may not have your standard buttonholes on 18, but this little symbol will be the same. Number 19 has a round end on one end, so that's quite a nice decorative one. And number 20 has round on both ends. I quite like that on shirts, pyjamas, blouses. That's quite a nice one. I use that
all the time.
It's lovely,
with silk,
isn't it?
It's really
yeah,
lovely.
Nice on silk, just a bit softer than the square-ended one. So I'll do a little sample of those ones just so you can see what they look like. So I'm just going to do marks for those two. And I'm going to do number 19, so you just literally reset it, and again start off with the settings, the default settings for your machine. Make sure the needle's going to go down in your mark, and make sure everything's nice and lined up. And oh, I was pushing the foot pedal, I forgot I was doing the start-stop. So because this has got the rounded end, it's going to zigzag back first this time and do the bar tack, and then so it's zigzagging back this time instead of doing the straight stitch back and zigzagging forwards, but it's still doing the zigzag in the same direction. So that's number 19. I'll go straight on to do the next one so that you can see them both together, and then I'll show you them.
It's important not to touch that lever, isn't it?
Yes, really important. Yeah. So one of the things that it's very easy doing your samples on a little bit of fabric like this. Of course, when you go to do it on your main garment, there's lots of little things that can go wrong, and I always say that it's very unlikely that you'll get a whole run of buttonholes without having to unpick at least one. Isn't that right, Margaret? Margaret has done her shirt dress. It's always one you have to unpick. So just always think about that when you're doing it. And don't feel bad if one goes wrong. But the main reasons that a buttonhole goes wrong is when you're concentrating so much on holding this straight that as you go back, your finger knocks that black lever, and that just throws it halfway through your buttonhole and stops it. The other thing is if something touches the back of the buttonhole foot. So if you've got your garment all over the table here, make sure it's right out of the way and nothing is going to knock that buttonhole foot. So those would be my two main tips to help you get a good run at your buttonholes. So this one has got the rounded end and the straight edge there, and this one's got the rounded edge on both ends, and I really like this one actually.
Me too.
With the rounded edge on both ends. The next one on this card here, number 22, it's called a stretch buttonhole. Now this is something that I often mention, is that I don't think, oh, Margaret's saying she unpicked 5 out of 12. Well, that's not bad. That's not bad. The edge of the jacket and the coat is a bit bulky. You really need to trim back as far as you can. That's one of the other things that really throws a buttonhole, is if the layers underneath are too bulky. So trim back as much as you can, so the buttonhole foot is not going to be hitting any big lumps of fabric. Sometimes the other thing you have to do sometimes is really, the machine does its best to pull the fabric backwards and forward, but sometimes you have to help it. You have to give it a little ease as it's going. So if it's going that direction, give it a little push, and then just when it's coming this way, make sure you're giving it a little help to come this way. But often with the edges of coats and jackets, it's the layers underneath that you have to trim back as much as possible, and bash them with a clapper, Suzanne, as well. So get a pressing cloth and a clapper and bash them to flatten those layers as much as possible, and that would really help.
Also keeping them in layers, isn't it?
Yeah,
so
cutting layers.
Yeah,
you can always do, make one longer than the other, but really you want to cut back as much as possible on the edge. And then if you have to start the buttonholes in a little bit further than you think you need to, at least you'll get a nice neat buttonhole. I hope that helps, Suzanne. Have a little go with that. Try doing your sample with the seam actually on the edge. So sew two bits together so you've got that seam, so you can play about with what you need to do to it to flatten it. So going back to this one here, number 22, it's called a stretch buttonhole, but I would never want a buttonhole to stretch. I think that would look really untidy and it would go really messy quite quickly. So I would suggest, if you're putting a buttonhole into a stretch fabric, to put a woven interfacing on the back of it to stop the buttonhole area from stretching. And then you could still use this buttonhole if you wanted to as a decorative one. It looks quite pretty, but I never find that it stitches very evenly. I'll do one for you in a minute. Layer the trimming, and I will try. Okay, yes, do all of that, Suzanne. Let me know how you get on. Yeah, so I'm never very keen on this stretch buttonhole, but I'll do a sample of it to show you. The next one along, number 23, looks like a hand-stitched buttonhole. So it's a good option if you're not feeling confident to do a hand-stitched buttonhole. That would be a really good one to try. So I'm just going to show you both of those now, just so that you can. So again, mark where your buttonholes are going to go, 22 and 23. So let's go here, did I say? Oh, I've missed out 21, haven't I?
Yeah.
I'll come back to that one in a minute.
I thought you did it on purpose.
No, I forgot. I was getting carried away with my... I'll do 22. So this is the one that's called a stretch buttonhole. And it uses a stretch stitch, so that's why they call it that. But it's a nice decorative one. That's the 22, and I'll move along and do 23 just to show you. So there's lots of different options. You don't have to do the same one every time. This is the one that looks like a hand stitched buttonhole. I really like this. It's quite nice. Again, this looks quite nice on jackets. You could do it in a nice contrast colour. And again, you could play about with the stitch width and the stitch length on this one. And just while I'm here, I'm going to do the one that I missed, because I know I've been chatting for so long.
21.
21. There we go. This is the one for that you use with shank buttons. So it has the little eyelets at one end. So if you're making things like jeans or something like that, this would be the buttonhole to use for that. There we go. I like to use the start-stop button when I'm doing a buttonhole, if you have that option on your machine, because it does keep the stitching nice and even. There we go. Let me just pull all those threads out of the way. There we go. So that's the one that is use the stretch stitch. So it's quite pretty, quite decorative, but I wouldn't want a stretch buttonhole to actually stretch particularly, but it's quite nice and decorative. This is the one that has the looks like a hand stitched buttonhole. So nice if you've got that option on your machine. Think about using that one. And then this is the one that you would use maybe on a pair of jeans with a button that's got a shank in it. If you're doing buttons on a pair of jeans and you've been using nice top stitching thread, when it comes to the buttonhole, I would go back to a normal sewing thread, just have a matching colour, so a colour to match your top stitching thread. But it's very difficult to do a buttonhole in a top stitching thread unless you really play about with the stitch width and stitch length. It's quite, you know, having these stitches so close together when you're doing a buttonhole. So just as a quick option, just get a matching standard polyester thread. So that's all about stitching your buttonholes. When it comes to cutting them open, the first thing I always do is put some fray check on the buttonhole. So this is fray check. It's a lightweight sort of glue that you just put down the middle of your buttonhole before you cut it open. So put it on, allow it to dry, and then particularly on things like denim, you know, garments that needs opening with a pin, things like denim or linen, anything that's going to fray, you'll find you get a nice clean cut in your buttonhole. So it's clear. You can do it from the wrong side if you want to, but so again, this is why you need to test, just to make sure it's not going to mark your fabric. Run the fray check down the middle of your buttonhole and then leave it to dry and then cut it open, and you'll get a nice clean cut in your buttonhole. So that's fray check. And then there are a couple of tools that you can use for cutting open your buttonhole. Try not to use a seam ripper. I know it's very tempting. If you're going to do that, if you're going to use a seam ripper, go from the end to the middle and then from the end to the middle the other way. And that will definitely mean that you're less likely of going up through the end of your buttonhole. I like to use a buttonhole chisel. This is a little chisel here, and you can just place that. I'll do it on this one here. I have to put glue on it. And you just push down, and that you can hear it cutting through the layers of fabric. And you can be quite accurate with that as well. And just push down, although I'm doing it at a funny angle, so I'm hoping I'm not going to cut through my stitches. There we go. You get a nice clean cut there for your buttonhole. So then you can test your button through the buttonhole and make sure it's the right size. Which that's lovely, look at that. So that's a nice little buttonhole there, cut with the chisel. The other thing we've just got actually in stock are the Merchant & Mills buttonhole scissors. Look at that, a special pair of scissors. Just going down. Oh, we're going down that way. Okay. Sorry, Amy's being my director, and I was going the wrong way. But Merchant & Mills make a little pair of scissors that are just for cutting buttonholes. So if you prefer scissors than the chisel, these are very nice. They're sort of stubby scissors like this, and they're very sharp. So I'm going to do this. Fold the buttonhole in half, and then just cut in the middle like that, and then you can go in and cut towards the end. Oh, I didn't cut that big enough. I like these. You feel very in control with these. They're really nice. But they're a nice present for yourself or somebody else who does sewing. They're a nice little extra present, aren't they? So there we go. So that's the buttonhole scissors. There we go. So I hope that's given you a little bit of a recap on buttonholes and a few new things as well. So what are some of the tools that are very useful? So when we get our textile garden buttons in, you'll be all wanting to make everything with buttons on it, won't you? You'll be no more trying to avoid buttons and buttonholes. So there we go. That's my little demo today. Amy's going to move the camera back, and then we're going to talk about cocktails. I know that's what you're all waiting for, really. So was that useful for everybody? Was that quite a nice little recap? Everyone just disappeared now, see. The one thing I didn't show you was, which I can show you from here, while Amy disappears off to the kitchen. Did you forget? I forgot. Yeah, the fray check can be used on most fabrics, Gilly. I would always do a test though, just in case, because sometimes on a silk, you might get a little mark. So you can, rather than squeezing it from the bottle, put it onto a pin and just run it down the middle of the buttonhole with a pin, rather than risking, turning the bottle upside down and a big blob coming out. So you can just put it onto the pin and go down the middle. Oh, that's good. I'm glad that was helpful. And what I didn't mention was cutting open the little circle at the end of the shank buttonhole, and you can use something like a tailor's awl or a Japanese screw punch. I quite like the screw punch, and you can just push down and it makes a little hole at the end of your buttonhole there. So it's got a little hole at the end there, and then you can cut the straight bit with the, there we go, you can cut the straight bit with the buttonhole chisel or the scissors. So there you go. Oh, thank you, Tanya. Really good recap. Right, now Amy has been rearranging the sewing room.
Outrageous accusations.
What was the table that we use in the sewing room? We've got these nice little trolleys on wheels that we use for the irons, the steam generator irons. It's now been made into a bar, which Amy's going to wheel in, so you can see.
Yeah, you can just about see that.
I'll move over. You might want to move the tailor's dummy so you can get round.
She's going to come out the way. Well, I needed to have something because this week's cocktail has quite a few ingredients.
It has.
Nearly all went on the floor then.
Go and do that.
Hello, everybody.
So not only is the kitchen looking a bit like a bar, now the sewing room's looking like a bar as well, with our own drinks trolley. We'll move it over a little bit because you don't need to have so much of the sewing machine in, do you? Can you see all right?
Yeah. Just needed to readjust. I hadn't quite readjusted.
Readjusting. You don't want to miss the details for your cocktail. Sewing machine with a drinks trolley. That's excellent.
Perfect.
I've got to find something else.
Wheel in the drinks trolley now. Used to have an iron on. Doesn't anymore.
It's got gin. So you've had a crazy busy week as well, haven't you?
Crazy. Oh, sorry.
I have to go up or you have to go down.
I think it's just adding comedy to the live.
It's not as funny as yesterday when I went to go and sit on the chair, was it?
Yesterday we're setting up for the sew along and
running around.
Mum's running around and my sister's there on Zoom so we can test all the connections, and then Mum goes to sit down and the chair spins out behind her and she goes flat on her back.
It's funny now.
It's funny now, it wasn't funny at the time. You scroll down.
Oh yeah, so you can
comments,
see
yeah.
Oh, there we go.
Love your nice outfit. Oh, thank you very much.
To include cocktails after the next workshop.
Oh, bye, Jilly.
See you next week. You can watch it on catch up, Jilly.
Yeah. So yeah, this is the South Bank sweater by Nina Lee, which I've made 2 or 3 of now.
It's good, isn't it?
Yeah, I love it. It's super comfy. I've added pockets to some of them, and yeah, it's really good pattern. And I've made it into some tops as well. But yeah, the pattern's for a dress. Nina Lee.
And that's in a sparkly jersey.
This is sparkly. Yeah, it's like a terry cloth. Victoria, it's from Bloomsbury Square. Surprise, surprise. I think it's actually sold out now. So, but I'm sure she'll have some
got
more.
some different colours?
She's not got in the sparkle. She has got other terries though.
Yeah.
Really nice modal terry.
Yeah.
French terry, which is nice because it's not fluffy inside. It's sort of like a cotton back.
Yeah,
so
it's lovely.
Really comfy and cool. Hadn't realised you'd made it. Oh, thank you,
There
Catherine.
you go.
That's the highest compliment.
No, it's great. And I was just watching. There was quite a lot of on the news this week about wearing jumper dresses, and there being really a lot of the fashion items on TV were talking about jumper dresses, and that's
I love a jumper
really
dress.
good one, isn't it?
Yeah, I wear them as like comfy clothes around the house.
Yeah.
And equally they can look quite smart and dressed up. And this one was really good for sparkle. I used to wear it on like a night out even because it's sparkly. So.
Oh, shall I go and get that? It might be the
Amazon delivery.
Oh, no, it might be Kim actually.
Or Kim.
Okay, I'll just go check.
Well, I'll carry on. I'm going to start with the cocktail because there's lots of ingredients and we've run out of time already. So I thought I would do a wintry cocktail. Now it's getting colder, and I was drinking mulled wine last weekend and thought I would do a mulled wine cocktail. So I don't know if a few of you might remember from the summer, I made French 75, which is gin and lemon and Prosecco. Well, this is my take on a winter French 75. There's quite a few ingredients, but it's delicious. We tried it earlier. Really yummy. So you need some pomegranate juice, lemon juice, which you can freshly squeeze or buy, apple juice, you need some mulling syrup, which you can buy on Amazon. Ours is from Selzy, so I think they're selling in Lakeland. Gin and Prosecco. So I'll get started. It is 1.5. Oh wait, I need ice first. So pop in some ice to your shaker. So we have 1.5 shots of gin.
I'm back. Sorry. Click and collect.
So 1.5 shots of gin, or 35 mils, 37 mils. You're then going to do. Oh wait, but I'm making 2.
Yeah.
Sorry. Forgot about you. You weren't here.
I'm back now.
Exactly.
I'm down the stairs.
Yeah. So I'm making 2, so doubling up. Then you want 1/2 shot of each of the juices. So you've got your pomegranate juice, your apple juice, and your lemon juice. It's very healthy, this cocktail.
It's actually 5 a day. At least.
Yeah,
That's 3 5 a day.
that's 3 5 a day, sorted. Okay, and then you want your mulling syrup. So again, it's 1/2 shot of mulling syrup. It's basically sugar syrup that tastes like mulled wine.
It's really nice. I think I got that from Lakeland, that mulling syrup. It's
Yeah, I was
nice.
saying. Or most retailers now. It's very good if you want to make a quick and easy mulled wine. You just chuck some in the wine and heat it up. What did I do? Oh, there. Right, so you're going to shake up those ingredients until, like I would say, it's super cold.
Put this on the ironing mat here, so I hope it's not going to be too wobbly.
No, it should be okay. Strain that into some Prosecco glasses.
It's another thing that's now in the
Yeah, we now have
in the
champagne
cupboards
flutes.
in the kitchen here.
We're gradually building a cocktail bar in the sewing room. So yes, Suzanne, if you do come, stay. we can have
definitely.
cocktails.
We'll be
After,
so happy that you're here, Suzanne. We'll have to have cocktails.
we'll have cocktails after sewing. Okay. We were saying earlier this would be the perfect drink for a Christmas party. You can prepare the juice part way ahead in advance in big jugs and pour it all out, and then you just do this as your guests arrive.
You putting the things in first, or
No. So, this is some Prosecco that we
may have opened earlier.
may have opened earlier. Now, I have a bar spoon, which is a spoon on one end, and then it's twisted metal, and it's got a flat bottom. And you'll see why this is a really handy gadget. You can buy them on Amazon. Because you can get all fancy. Place the bar spoon so that the flat top just sits on the juice. Just sitting on top. Hold the bottle next to the twizzle and slowly pour the Prosecco down the twizzle of the spoon.
Yay! Look at that.
And
how
it will
pretty.
create a nice little... Oh, maybe a bit more. Whoops! And it will create a nice little separation. This works really well for things like if you're doing a Kir Royale and you just want your cassis to sit in the bottom, so it looks really pretty. This is how they do it. And it's really easy to get the knack of. As sewists, we all have quite steady hands, usually. So...
That's so pretty, Amy.
Really
That is
pretty.
really pretty.
Nice, pretty Christmas drink.
Can you just make sure you can you can see that?
I think you will be able to. So we're not quite finished because it's Christmas. We have to go all out on the garnish. So.
Oh, Suzanne said she's going to bring us some Guernsey gin.
Oh, yay! So to garnish properly, we're going to add some pomegranate seeds, just for a little bit of crunch. So get some pomegranate seeds, most supermarkets sell them, take a little spoon and just, well, some of them will go down, it's annoying, but some of them might float back up, but they kind of sort of sit in the top there. It's difficult to do actually with this big spoon. So pop some pomegranate in, they may float up to the top, there's one coming there. And then we're going to get really Christmassy up in here. And we're going to do a little orange swizzle. So just, oh, I didn't do that very well. Should have prepared some earlier. Take a grater. Oh no! I'm doing that
Really
right.
soft.
I think it's a really soft orange. Uh-oh, this might go wrong.
Use a knife instead.
It might be okay.
Oh, lovely smell of orange in here anyway.
Yeah.
I think this is my new favourite drink. Also, we had to try it to make sure we liked it before we could do it for you. And it is really lovely. My new favourite Christmas drink.
Yeah.
So I often like a Cœur Royale or something at Christmas. Just something in with Prosecco or champagne. So we don't necessarily always want a buck fizz. So this is just something a bit different.
So you take your little strip of orange peel and some pinking shears. We have special kitchen pinking shears now. And just trim the edges of your orange with the pinking shears.
Yeah, don't use your dressmaking ones.
Don't use the dressmaking ones. We've got some little mini kitchen ones. Okay, this one might be a bit dodgy.
You get the idea.
You'll get the idea of what I'm trying to do here. And then you take a cinnamon stick, wrap your orange around the cinnamon stick and place it on top of your glass like that. And there we have a mulled wine French 75.
Susan said it sounds gorgeous. It is really
It is.
gorgeous. There we go. Oh, it's so pretty. I'm going to hold it up to the camera because I don't know if you can see the separation. Yeah, you can see the two colours. It's so pretty. I'm going to mix it all up now.
Yeah, gotta mix it up. You can take your cinnamon off. I mean, that's just for decoration, really.
Might use that later in the cake.
Yeah. So we can use our swizzle stick. So you can just give it a little mix. There we go. And it is like having a light fizzy mulled wine. It's just delicious. Cheers!
Cheers! Ah, Suzanne said that you could see the separation.
Good.
Thank you. So do try one of these. Oh, it's really nice.
It's so good. That's my weekend sorted. And it's quite good. Once you've got all those ingredients, then you're away. The pomegranate juice I had to order on Amazon, but I think
Yeah, I don't know if you can get that in the supermarket. I'm sure you can, but we're trying not to go to supermarkets at the moment. Suzanne can get it because she's open.
Oh yeah.
Cheers, Sandy. Cheers. Thank you for joining us all this week. It's been a really lovely week.
It has. We overran this week.
We did. That's why. Sorry, cocktails.
Yeah, perfect Friday afternoon, right, Sue?
See what you're missing out on, Sue?
Yeah, this is what we do now.
That's what we do. Cheers, Suzanne.
Cheers.
Yeah, so have a lovely weekend, everybody. Cheers, Catherine.
Hope you have a nice weekend. You don't get rained out wherever you are.
Oh, I'm gonna stay indoors, light the fire, and do some sewing. That's what I'm gonna do. Yeah, that's a good plan for the weekend, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Sewing by the fire.
Yeah. So
with a cocktail.
Yeah, if anyone missed earlier, I was just talking about the sew along we did this week, and I have thought I might do another one next week. Because I've got quite a lot of those patterns where I used to sew at the shows and things. So if anyone does want to do a skirt sew along next week, there is another one available on the website. And thank you, Sue. So I'm so glad you joined us.
Yeah.
I miss you. It is very young.
It's very young.
It's really good. Have a great weekend, everybody. Thank you, Claire.
Thank you, everyone.
And he's going to go and
turn
us off now.
See you next week.
Thank you so much, everybody. Have a great week, and I shall see you next Friday.
Bye.
Bye.